Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I think I've been here before. Yep. Yep, I have been. Yep, I've been here before. This looks like that same place. Yep. It looks familiar, huh? Okay, now I'll get real. Or will I get real? Maybe I won't get real just yet. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer before anybody that watches this live stream, or maybe after it's archived later on you're watching. Okay. First off, we need to have a moment of silence. Okay, because I've seen it right typed before on the internet, and I've seen it typed before over here in the Manosphere. That's right. It's come to my attention. It's come to my, my knowledge that TFL has died, that is dead, it's gone. So I know if TFL is dead and gone, that the Manosphere, that means the INCELs must be dead and gone. Men going their own way are dead and gone. So since in the Manosphere we have all died, because TFL is dead, I guess we should have a moment of silence in respect for the Manosphere, for all the TFLers, and for all the incels. That's right. And last but not least, for the men going their own way. We should have a moment of silence. Okay, the moment's over. Dead, huh? Don't we wish it was dead? Because see, if it was dead, then that means we've overturned evil. That means men don't got to go their own way no more. It means young men won't have a problem getting a date. And incels, you won't have to worry about getting a woman in your life neither. You should be able to get a woman really easy, because we know that somehow magically overnight, somehow just magically overnight, the problem went away. Men won't be abused by the court systems anymore. That's right. Women won't use guys no more. There won't be no more drama. Okay? We all know what we're doing in the dating arena now. We know it's another human being's emotions and feelings isn't a game. That's right. And we all treat each other properly, and we recognize right from wrong. Okay, now I'm through being sarcastic. I just had to be sarcastic for that moment because of the ridiculousness that I see. Okay? If you want me to slur and Bill, I can do that for you, okay? I can do that right away for you. Okay? I've taken care of that problem for you. There we go. Problem fixed. Yep, problem fixed. See how that works? It was awesome, wasn't it? I fixed that problem right now, didn't I? Yep. See, unlike some people, I don't put up with bullshit. Okay? If that's all you got time to do is come into the live stream to throw accusations, to throw slanderous comments while you're hiding behind your computer, then all I got time to do is just remove you. I don't got time to pay attention to your crap. I don't need you in here neither, by the way. That's how that works. I don't need you. I don't know you. You don't affect me any. But you did do one thing properly. See, the name of this live stream is To the Children of the Manosphere. TFL, INCEL, and MGTOW. Men going their own way. Now you're going to say, why did I name a live stream To the Children? Well, because that's what I see going on. I see childish behavior. I see children. I don't see adult men. I don't see people who've grown up. Because, see, the problem is this. I don't care if you're incel. I don't care if you're a man going your own way. I don't care if you're TFL or if you just claim to be an MRA or a men's right activist, okay? The problem I'm looking at is in your face. You know, every now and again I'll purposely punch in incel and Too Forced Loneliness and MGTOW into the YouTube search, and I'll scroll through and look and see what's been going on in the last month or the last week. And what I keep observing over and over is children, childish behavior, wanting up somebody else. That's right. Having your disagreements of opinions. But let me give you the common denominator for all of these groups, INCEL, TFL, and men going their own way. The majority of men going their own way ain't going their own way to begin with. They're fraudulent, they're fake, they're liars, they're deceivers. Correct. Okay? The majority of men going their own way are either TFL or INCEL. And as far as I'm concerned, INCEL is the same thing as TFL. You can come up with whatever name makes you, pleases you, makes you happy. But the problems that men are having with women, for men who cannot get women into their life, for men who have women in their life, the problems are all common. The complaints that are being lodged are the same type of complaints, regardless of which way you look. If you go over to INCEL, you'll see them saying the same things that you'll see TFLers saying. If you go over to MGTOW, you'll see the same complaints. With the exception of men who've had women in their life will be talking about the same complaints that TFLers and incels are in some cases. In other cases, they'll be talking about the toxic relationships. They'll be talking about some of the stuff that MRA talks about. Yeah. And that's what'll go on, okay? So it's sort of plain and in your face, okay? It really is. Why you don't want to choose to understand and get along is childish behavior. Because when we're all experiencing the same related problems, with the exception of some guys who've had some females in their life and they've had very bad experiences, have they not? Yes. Okay? I know what you're talking about because I have a woman in my life. I've had a woman before I got a child. It ain't like I don't understand or know. The problem I see is people are wanting to play games with one another's feelings. They're wanting to argue back and forth. You know, like one of my favorite arguments that I watched, what I watched going on is women are hitting the wall. They'll know once they hit the wall. The only wall women are going to hit is they're not able to make a baby no more. That is the only wall a woman's going to hit. There is no such thing as a wall when it comes to the dating arena, able to get a person in their life The women ain't going to have a problem there. And oh, yes, there are women living TFL. There are quite a few women living TFL. But they're living not true forced loneliness. They're living self-produced loneliness. Because they got so picky that they've outpicked themselves through social engineering. So yeah, they're lonely. They're living TFL, but not really TFL. You know, they're living. This is why true forced loneliness was given two definitions. Because you have the self-produced, and then you have the ones that are not self-produced. Now, for the ones that are not self-produced, that is the majority of that is men. The ones that are self-produced, the majority is women. You noticed how I used majority? That's because there's some men out here that are actually at fault for their own TFL. So they're self-produced. Okay? And as far as women, could a woman be forced into loneliness? Yes, she could. But I would have to say that percentage is so low it's off the Richter scales. I have actually met a woman who was living true forced loneliness. Forced. Yes, I have. But in all the years I've been doing it, I've only met one. So I guess that should suggest what the real numbers are, doesn't it? Yes, it does. NWO. Okay, New World Order. Social engineering, divide and conquer. Yep. Destruction of the society. Through this. It's been mind-blowing. But this is the reason we're all living this. Guys. Now, why are we failing to understand that we should not be bickering, we should not be fighting, we should all be fighting in the same fight? Why are we failing to understand that? Why are we going to bicker back and forth amongst each other and amongst the different names and the different groups when have we all realized that a lot of our complaints are all the same? If you go listening to the complaints of the INCEL guys, you're going to find a lot of the same complaints that the MGTOW guys have and that the TFLers have. Our MRA guys have. You sure are. And if you go listen to MRA anymore, it's so ridiculous to even listen to MRA because it's been hijacked by a bunch of females who claim they're here to help you, but they've never been here to help you ever. Ever. Not even once. They're here to line their pockets with money and give you problem, reaction, phony solution, and keep themselves up on that pedestal. Okay, so you know, what can I say? There's not a lot I can do about this, but I can tell you this. Even with the chances are great that there's a certain person that is military industrial complex, okay, related here on YouTube, military intelligence, who's here for an agenda that he's being paid to do. That's because they're going to try to push some new mental health laws on us. You know, one day, if you ain't got a woman in your life or you went your own way, you may not be able to own a firearm no more. There might be all kinds of repercussions they can think of mental health-wise to use to lock you down, to shut you up. That's right. But that's because, once again, we've allowed it, haven't we? And since the women seem to outdoing you men at their ability when it comes to serious topics of standing together, shouldn't you want to really think hard about what you're doing so that the women can stop making you into Dummies? Why are we against one another when all of our problems are mutual and came from the same place? That is my question to you. So what can we do in the manosphere to stop acting like children? How about stop lashing out at one another? Wouldn't that be a good idea? I think that'd be a good idea. If we stopped lashing out at one another, that would probably be one of the best ideas I could think about. You know, attacking Steve Hoka because you disagree with something he says is childish. Steve Hoka's been here longer than the majority of people on YouTube that are here. Of course, not 100% across the board. There are people that have been here since the very beginning, and I know a few that have. But the real point of this video, and the reason I gave it the name, is because of all the BS that's going on. When you're smashing another man down because you want to be the bigger victim, you're acting like a child. You failed to grow up. You're not here for the right reason. So I would suggest if that's all you're here for, you should just shut your mouth and go away. Because obviously you ain't having no issues with female gender, huh? And if you're having actual issues with the female gender, and you really can't get a woman in your life, or you really freaking had a woman in your life, and you see the toxic behavior that's going on, and how men are being dumped on, as being a real man, you should be sickened by the fact that you can't even turn a television set on without being shamed. That's right, without being put down. But then at the same time, what are men doing to one another? We're looking at some other guy because they have a woman in their life, and we're judging them like as if we have some right to judge them to how they look, how tall they are. And they should have a woman because I ain't got a woman. Okay, so there's your children behavior again. That's the children, see? That's the reason I said to the children of the manosphere. Why would you want somebody in your life that's going to treat you lower than a piece of dirt on the ground? That's going to make your life living hell. Serious. Do you not understand the majority of relationships in today's society are narcissist women? How do you suppose they became narcissists? Well, did we not place them on a pedestal? Did we not pamper them from the time they was a child? Do women do not represent, yes, they do represent self-entitlement issues. Yes, they do. Think about gender roles and think about what gender roles have done for us. They've taught the women that the man is an ATM machine. And that's all the good you are. You're an ATM machine. Okay, so come on, seriously, guys. Between gender roles and the male shaming and bashing that's being pushed around the clock, what are we doing to one another? What do you think this is doing to our society? How do you think we have so many narcissist women, We could be the greatest inventors of Frankenstein because we're creating the female Frankenstein, through our behaviors. Meanwhile, the females, when it comes to a serious topic, they will stand together and complain about what they want. And us men will be throwing each other under the bus to please some female who's going to treat you lower than dirt. So really, honestly, what are we doing here? What we need to be doing is standing together. What we need to be doing is stop fighting one another. Stop belly aching over your differences. Stop playing the victim role so you can have bigger victim status like a child. And stop judging other men that have a woman in their life out of your jealousy because they have a woman in their life and you don't have a woman in your life. Do you go home with that man and woman at night and see how she's treating him? Do you see actually how he's acting? Is he actually acting like a real man? Or is he bending over and becoming her slave and living a miserable life just to have a woman with him so that he don't be perceived to be without a woman? You know, I've seen this so many times. You know, I'm going to tell you something. And this is just not anything. I love the hell out of my brother. In my life, I only have one brother that's left. My whole family's deceased, gone, dead. Okay? I have one brother that's left, and I have my son. Now, my brother has a couple sons that's left, right? Okay? But my brother lived with a woman that he married for a lot of years. Trying to think of how many years he was actually with her. I know it was more than 10. Okay, well, let's just go. I know it was more than 10 years, okay? This woman, from day one, treated him like complete, utter shit. And if when they were having sex together, fun together, right? If she didn't approve of something he done or how he done, she waited till they had company and her family over and friends over and slammed him to the ground over their sexual relationship in the bedroom to all of them. In front of him to all of them. Yes, she did. She not only done that, she demanded that when he got his paychecks from his job, he could not cash them. He had to sign them checks and give them to her, and she controlled the money and decided what allowance he was allowed to have. She dictated everything about his life. He had absolutely no say-so. The vehicles they owned wasn't even allowed to be in his name. And he had to get permission to drive one of them. When they got a new vehicle, of course, she took possession of the new vehicle. And he wasn't allowed to drive it without her permission, and that was hardly ever. So she gets him an old clunker vehicle, but she made sure she kept it in her name only, even though they're married, so that she could control him. Meanwhile, she treated him lower than a piece of dirt on the ground, dictated every move of his life. So, guys, is this the type of world relationship you want? Would you like to be in his shoes just to have a woman in your life? Seriously. So this is why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. This is as real as it gets. And for this clown that's coming up here saying, TFL is dead. I know another clown that did that. He dumped on all of the TFLers by the name of Dwayne Holloway, who is a TFLer himself and spoke out for a long time about it. It becomes so mentally distraught that he not only left TFL, he took down the True Force Loneliness website and attacked and dumped on TFLers left and right. And he used to say, TFL is dead, TFL is dead, TFL is dead. Now, the whole time TFL is dead, it just kept growing. When you hear somebody say that True Force Loneliness is dead, that's the reason I was being sarcastic and started the video out with the Manosphere has died. I guess New World Order was defeated overnight. All the women's behaviors have changed overnight. We have no reason to be together anymore, guys, because magically overnight everything changed. Bullshit. Do you see how ridiculous of a statement that is to say it's dead? I understand these guys are, I don't call them, I call them manginas. It's not a mangina. It's just a straight out nagina. Because to put the word man in front of gina still tells them they're a man. And I refuse to call men like this a man because they're not a man. They would be the words you just put there, pussies. I'm with you on that. I stand with you on that. Why do you think you hear me say the word nagina? Because there's no such thing as a mangina. It's just a straight out nagina. Because I'm not going to give him any titleship to being a man until they grow up and act like a man. And to the manosphere, you don't deserve the word manosphere when you're acting like children. Maybe we should be the children's sphere, okay? The boy sphere, the child sphere. You can't be the manosphere because you're fighting like a bunch of children when the common denominator is we are all experiencing the same type of problems, lodging the same type of complaints over and over and over again, and then we're over here fighting each other over it like a bunch of little children. How about learning how to agree to disagree and learning how to get along and focusing on the problem at hand that we're all experiencing? And stop worrying about how this guy is, or how many women this guy might have had, or if this guy had a woman in his life. And now, okay, this is like this crap about a True Force Loneliness guy gets a female in his life. He's with her for 6 months. He's with her for 2 months. He's with her for a month. But the minute he got her in his life, he's no longer True Force Loneliness. No. Now, maybe he lived True Force Loneliness for 10 years, for 15 years, for 20 years, or 30 years. The damage has already been done. And somehow, miraculously, you think because he got a female in his life that it was instant cure. That he don't have any more hurt from TFL. So when's the last time you shot yourself and the next day you didn't have no injury from the bullet? You was healed overnight. Do you follow what I'm saying? You wasn't healed overnight. If we cut off your arm, are you going to be healed overnight? Is you magically going to get your arm back because now you got a woman in your life? No, you're not. The damage is done. What part of that don't you understand? And to deny being a TFLer because you're afraid of being ostracized by the gender that's shitting all over you, or you're afraid of what other men might think about you. This is one of the biggest problems I see in society to begin with, is people been so socially engineered that they want to worry about what somebody else thinks of them. You can't do that. You got to grow tough skin, especially online. Because how many people online really know each other in real life? Now, we have the common denominator that we're all going through a lot of the exact same problems, do we not? Yes, we do. But how many of us are really in somebody else's shoes, walking with them every day in their life, to know how they act, how they present themselves to other people? You're not. The majority of us do not know this. But we make assumptions for other people when we walk around with our big size 10-foot hanging out of our mouth because we made an assumption when 90% of all assumptions are wrong. So, what are you going to do? I mean, come on. You've got to use some common sense if you have any of that left. You need to understand that we're all going through a lot of the exact same problems. Hell by the Dashboard Light has said a lot of good things and a lot of truth. But at the same time, he fits the name of the video to the children. The children, he acts like a child. Because he talks about when he goes to the gym and he sees some guy that he perceives to be too short or too little or ugly or whatever he sees. First off, if he's not gay, what's he doing judging another man by their looks? Second off, even so, he does not know how long these two been together, how they met, or how this guy's being treated. Because he's not walking in this guy's shoes. He can't just assume because he's big and tall that this woman belongs with him because no, that's freaking artificial BS that was part of what's been put in your face your whole life by your brainwashing box television set. Name me one movie or show that you're watching, sitcom or movie, where the female has the male and she's taller than the male or the same size as the male. You don't think that's not deliberately done? Of course that's deliberately done. Because that gives you the perception in your mind that she has to have a guy that's taller than her. So that perception in the mind also falls onto men. So Hell by the Dashboard Light says, look, I am a tall man. I am this and I am that. And I can't get a woman. But yet this little short blah, blah, blah. See, do you see what's going on here? He's not understanding that this has all been socially engineered and that television set in the movies is part of brainwashing and giving us our perceptions to what we see. He need not worry about what size that guy is that's with that girl. First off, he don't know them. Second off, he's not walked in that guy's shoes to know the first thing about him. He's a human being just like the rest of us are. He don't deserve special privilege because of his size. He is a human being just like that little guy's a human being. He don't even know how that girl's treating that guy. It could be like I told you earlier. How would you like to put yourself in a situation where you can be treated lower than dirt? You can have drama over every single thing there is. She could wear a shirt that says, I'm a bitch and damn proud of it, and treat you like complete garbage. Are you, what, is that the type of life you want, to be with a woman? I mean, seriously, let's use our heads about that. Is that the type of guy you want in order to be with a woman? Do you want to be with a woman who's going to treat you this way? Do you want a psychopathic, narcissist woman? Or do you want somebody that would actually treat you like a human being, that you could treat them like a human being? And that you could get along, that would not make drama with you all day long. And you could go out and you could do things together and have fun together and have a real true friendship and partnership and companionship. I think the answer would be that the majority of all of us men would like to have somebody like what I just said. How is that going to happen if we keep placing females above yourself? How is that going to happen if you're going to be so weak that you're not going to stand up for yourself to a female? It's not. You're going to have a life of misery. You're not going to understand that you were better off being alone. You would be more happy being alone. Now look, guys, I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from what I've witnessed with my own eyes. And in more than one occasion in my life. And I've been around for a while, guys. I'm not here to hurt any of us. I want to help us. But we have to first want to help ourselves, do we not? So the first rule of thumb has to be the common denominator. I don't care if you're a men's rights activist. I don't care if you want to call yourself MGTOW. I don't care if you're TFL. We all are experiencing the same type of problems. Thanks to NWO, social engineering. Thanks to our society. Why are we fighting one another? Why are we arguing with one another? Why are we allowing women to hijack a men's rights movement and then not accomplish nothing in 7 years? Who won't even go up and picket Hollywood and scream and shout at the top of their lungs in Hollywood? Why the hell are you putting all this male shaming in your commercials, your sitcoms, and movies? What is wrong with you? Knock it off. Why are us as men not outraged over the fact that Hollywood is doing this? How do you sit back as a real man and turn on a freaking television set and put up with that shit 365 days a year and don't become fucking frustrated or angry at it? See, you should be. To not be is not normal. To just keep bending over and taking it is not normal. We have to stand up. And we need to start working together. This problem is not going to go away until we address the problem by the root cause. We gotta, we can show symptoms out the yin-yang, guys. Men's rights activists, when Paul Heyman was in control, and a few of these other people, they showed you lots of great work with symptoms, symptoms, symptoms. They had never ever once told you that it was deliberately done. They never talked about social engineering. They didn't talk about NWO as where it come from. No, because the men's right movement was like PUA. It was part of problem, reaction, solution. The solutions was fraudulent. Why do you think that they won't address the root cause? And these women, they're not going to address the root cause ever. Ever. Because to address the root cause means they'd have to take some responsibility. And to take that responsibility means they would have to give up the tool, the money. They're not here for us. You know, I don't care if Steve Hoka runs marathons. I like Steve Hoka. I don't care about you people who want to fight against Steve Hoka, because Steve Hoka's meant well. But like all of us, Steve Hoka has the job to hold down in order to keep a roof over his head. Okay? I like Steve Hoka, and I plan on staying working with Steve Hoka. We're not going to be fighting no more, guys. And there is nobody that's going to turn that around and think they're going to stick their nose out there to make division between me and Hoka. It just ain't going to happen. You better understand that it's not going to happen. See, the problem in the past with Steve and I is we both had hot tempers. Okay? And our tempers, our emotions took over. And we both made mistakes. I've moved beyond that, guys. You better understand that. That was years ago, and I've moved beyond that. I've always liked Steve. You need to understand that. Steve has done a lot of great work. Steve never backed down. Even though he's been gone for a while and he comes back, and he's gone for a while and he comes back, he has a personal life. You haven't seen him make videos recently. Now, as far as the donation thing goes and what promises he's made, these are areas that Steve has to correct for Steve. I cannot do that for him. I will stand with you if Steve says he's going to do something upon a donation, that Steve needs to do the best to honor his word, or at least come up and tell you why he hasn't been able to. Okay? That I will stand with you on, because that's what only right. I don't want what's wrong onto anybody. But it does not mean I hate Steve Hogan. It does not mean I will not work with Steve Hogan. Just take that off your mind, because I will. What I want to see for 2019 into 2020 is I want to see INCEL, men going their own way, TFL, MRA, men, not women. I want to see us come together. I want to see us stop fighting one another. I want us to see us stop shame, using shaming tactics and bashing one another, judging one another. We are all experiencing the same type of problems. Doesn't matter which one you look at. You can go look at all the videos of TFL and all the videos of men going their own way, and you can look at the videos and people talking about INCEL and the forums and what have you, and really focus in on the complaints about females, and then go over and look at the next TFL or the MGTOW and compare them, and you're going to see we are all experiencing the same damn problems. Because it came from where? What I've always told you. And you know, when Steve Hogan tells you that you got to go to the root cause, you better remember he is correct. I've said it for years. You know, Before my health went to shit, I worked my tail off and I have trade skills behind me. Steve Hoka has a trade skill that he's doing. He understands the root cause is how you fix a problem, not the symptom. The TV set and the men's rights movement that was controlled by Paul Elam and now females never, ever, ever, ever talk about the root cause. Show you where it came from. They lie to you. They deceive you. Because they were part of problem, reaction, solution. The pickup artist industry was here to make money off the back of lonely men that was created through social engineering by NWO. Totally wrong. Totally evil. And it really is. It's no different than all these so-called truthers online that are speaking out about NWO. The majority of them will not cross over and talk about INCEL, men's rights activists, TFL, men going their own way. They will not cross over to this part of the war whatsoever because they're scared shitless that they might run the toxic narcissist women off. We perpetuate the problem. We keep the problem growing. We really do. We keep the problem alive through our own ignorance. We have to understand that the war against NWO, which is NWO, was what caused our problem, guys. Okay? That the truther community, the fraudulent fakes up here fighting back, there's a lot of them running on ego, and I've been attacking people for their ego for a reason. Because it corrupts. Okay? We can no longer allow these people just to sit back and say nothing about it. They're not fighting against the evil in our society. They think somehow a war on evil against NWO is a buffet line. That they get to pick out what evil they want to fix and what evil they're going to allow to flourish and grow in society. The war on evil is not a buffet line. You cannot play pick and choose. You literally have to understand that. There is no pick and choose. You have to be willing to fight the whole war, not just part of it. This is the great divide because so many men, they know already. These Chads and these white knights and these men over here that are speaking out against NWO and the false flags and the chemtrails and the flat earth psyops, and doesn't matter which part it is, they all understand what we're saying over here. They really do. They see it. The majority of them do, and they know what's going on. And a lot of them actually know it's been deliberately socially engineered, but they're not going to admit to it because they are the Naginas. That's right. They are the people that's allowing it to flourish. They are like the water watering the seed of evil. So we are watering our evil plant while we're telling the public we're fighting against it. That's what they're doing. They've turned their backs on the Manosphere and their men. That's because they're Naginas. You know, they thought they could throw an insult at me. They thought they could use shaming tactics on me. I've had people, as long as I've been doing this on the other side, that speak out on the political end. use shaming tactics on me over and over. Okay? It don't work. You will not drag me down with your shaming tactics. You will fit into that phrase I gave for this live stream to the children. Yeah, to the children. Because that's what you're acting like. You're not acting like an adult. You're not going to use shaming tactics on me and tell me I'm a woman hater. I don't hate women. I hate corruption. I understand why women are acting the way they're acting. After all, we built the Frankenstein female, didn't we? We sure did. We spent our whole life putting her on a pedestal from the time she was a little child and throwing the little boy under the bus. And we all turned our back and looked the other way. Then you wonder why she's narcissist with entitlement issues, huh? Because we created her. We sure did. She has the issues she has because of social engineering. Just like we have the issues we have. I've said it 1,000 times, man. If you took a poll, if this was a poll, this ink pen, and I had one side was social engineering programming for females, and the opposite side was social engineering for men, that's exactly what's happened. Don't you see that? It's conditioning, it's brainwashing. All of us are victims of it, every last one of us. This brainwashing stuff was going on when I was born. It started even before I was born. Now look, guys, I'm 58 years old. How many of you was born when I was that are in this chat right now that are 58 years old? I'll guarantee you there's a bunch of you that's not. Now, this is not about telling you I'm smarter because of my age. So don't take me wrong. This is about letting you know this was going on before I was born. And if I'm older than you, how the heck would you even know this was going on when you were born? You wouldn't. Don't you understand that's how brainwashing works? This is what they've done to us. You had no way of knowing. Every last guy in here is just as big of a victim as I am, or all of us are. We are all victims to this crap. And you need to understand that. That's the reason we really need to understand what's going on and the root cause of where it comes from. And we need to start standing together. We need to start working together. Not against each other, but together. What I see is people, guys, I'm not trying to be mean, but the truth is the truth. You know, I spent some time this morning. I was up early. What time did I get up? When most people were in bed, of course. It's always me. You know, I have health issues, and I wind up in the middle of the night a lot of times. So I was up this morning at like 3 a.m. Okay? I was online by 3:30, and I spent some time going through TFL, MGTOW, INCEL in the last month. Okay? And I was looking through this. And what I'm seeing just disgusts me. It really does. You know, there's a reason I didn't get along with Player Supreme when he was alive. Because I've always been against game. Always, from day one. Because it doesn't take game to get a female in your life. That's just how you destroy a society. Because you have to understand that women and men alike, we all are human beings. We all have emotions, feelings, wants, and needs. Every last one of us. And Our emotions and feelings are not a game to be toyed with or played with. When you start turning human beings' emotions and feelings into a game, see, this is why I'm against game. What do you see when you see hypocrites, okay, because of ego, or INCEL, slapping each other down, complaining about what some other INCEL guy has done or said about them, and then turning around and doing the very same thing they complained about themselves onto some other guy? Because they're becoming hypocrites. They're practicing what their media's put in their head. Game. It's all brainwashing and social engineering. It's deliberately done to destroy society, to destroy us, to divide us. Evil. Divide and conquer. You need to understand that. The red flag laws that are going on right now through the states, the United States, where they're pushing into law mental health things to take guns away from people, is coming our way. Why do you think I said a certain character here on YouTube is most likely military intelligence, and I agree with Kevin? What do you think his real goal is? His real goal is to paint you incels, you MGTOWers, men going their own way, and TFLers as dangerous to society, people with mental health issues. That is the end goal. Through that, we can pass legislation and corrupt laws that will take rights away from you. You need to understand that's what's going on. That's what makes this guy dangerous, because he's not who he's telling you he is. So you need to really be aware of that and pay attention to that and pay attention to what bills that they're pushing through Congress. Because this is where this is going, guys. We've got to stop fighting one another. Okay? We're not dead. You know, this bullshit that TFL is dead, I've heard for, what, the last 7 years? And the entire time it was dead, it kept growing. Something that's dead don't keep growing. That's why I said a moment of silence was being sarcastic at the beginning of this live stream. Because that's exactly where we're at. You know, it's not gone. It's not going away. It's socially engineered. So unless suddenly all of our population has died out and been reborn and grown up already overnight, and New World Order's been defeated and evil's gone, and we've all grown up and treating each other the way we're supposed to, and people understand what friendship and relationships and love really is. Because until you understand what it really is and what's really happened to us, we cannot fix these problems. You have to go to the root cause, and you have to know and be smart enough to figure out how would you fix these problems. This wasn't created overnight, and we're not going to fix it overnight. But we are going to get absolutely nowhere if we do not start working together. So I guess my goal would be to continue to work with Steve Hoka and to continue to do live streams as often as possible, as long as I'm allowed, that is. You know how that goes. I don't have control over YouTube here. Okay? But even if I'm not allowed for live streams, I'll still post videos, even if I have to go somewhere else. But my goal is for Steve Hoka and I to work together, and for the men, the Manosphere, to start coming together and stop fighting one another. We're all experiencing these problems. You know it. If you would do your looking, if you would just take yourself and go to INCEL and look for INCEL videos of men talking about and listen to some of their complaints, and then go over and do the same thing with MGTOW and do the same thing with TFL and any MRAs that are really left that are complaining about women. If you would do that, you're going to find universally the TFLers and incels and men going their own ways complaints are really universally the same complaints over and over again. They really are. And that's what you need to understand. For a guy who can't get a female in his life, for a young man growing up that's unable to get a female in his life, it's not his fault. You cannot push and point your finger at him and start blaming him. Now, if he's doing things like pulling a Dwayne Holloway, living in your bed, only coming out of your room to go to the bathroom or shove food in your face, and going nowhere in life, then you will always be just there where you're at, and you will be self-produced TFL. You will be like the women who are living TFL, self-produced. Because they're picky, picky, picky. Because the woman's not TFL because she's not got choices. She's TFL because she's denying every guy that's approaching her. That's why she's TFL. Or she wouldn't be TFL. Incel, guys, you're not incel because you can get women. And for guys who can get women, they'll all tell you the same thing. The majority of women are narcissists. Very toxic. I gave you an example of what happened with my brother for years. He's not the only person I've seen in this situation that was treated like complete dirt. When I ended it between my ex and me, I loved her. Don't get me wrong. I was with her for a lot of years. And I was really in love with her from deep inside. And I was the one that broke it off. That's right, guys. I was in love with her and broke up with her because of what was going on and because of narcissism and entitlement issues and toxic behavior and being treated lower than dirt. And then, of course, at the same time, she wanted to go out and, have fun and keep me on the side, So there were several reasons that went into the factor, but I am the one that broke up with her. We were together for a lot of years, and I had a lot of really good years with her. But I also had some terrible years with her. You can live a life of misery being with a woman, or you can have good years with a woman, or you can get a woman in your life and be miserable the entire time and be treated lower than dirt like a slave. And for you guys that can't get a woman, you need to understand you're not missing out. Because the majority of women in today's society are toxic. And I'm not lying about that, they're toxic. They don't want you knowing that, and they don't like me preaching it. They want you to find out after they're shitting down your throat. Excuse my language. I want you to know before they get a chance to dump down your throat. I want you to know so you can watch for the signs. And if you should get a chance to get a woman in your life and you see these signs, go the other way. Run. Okay? That's where this comes from. I don't wish anybody to be alone, but you know what? I said it before. Men going their own way, if we actually really done that, which is not happening, of course, and we done it by the masses, you could wake the women up. We could stop the programming, the social engineering, and bring the genders back together again. But that ain't going to happen. You know why it ain't going to happen? Because the majority of men going their own way ain't going their own way. They're liars. And then, of course, we have the so-called truther community who won't touch this area, which is a lot of men that are vaginas. Not manginas, just straight up freaking vaginas. They're bending over and being treated like complete dirt just to have a woman in their life. Because they were so tired of being alone. That they're willing to take it and be abused over and over and over. This is what we have to stop. This is why it's so crucial to understand what I'm telling you. We can never stop this if we don't pay heed to what's really going on. So that's my goal for 2019. Let's bring the Manosphere together. Let's start working together. Let's stop calling names, playing victim status. That's right. End the game. It's not a game. Start working together. Learn how to agree to disagree. And don't run on ego. If you have high ego, then check your own self for your own behaviors. And make sure you're not doing wrong unto somebody else. Don't just tell yourself, no, I don't need to check myself because I know I'm good. If you got high ego and you say that, you have set yourself up and you will wind up dumping on somebody else because it's the same thing as power and greed. It absolutely corrupts. It's no lie. It does. It absolutely corrupts. You know, you need to get the ego out of you and down your ego and run on low ego and use your brain. Recognize right from wrong. And practice what you don't want done onto you on how you treat other people. Seriously. You know, that is the golden rule. But with that being said, guys, I'm getting on out of here for today. But that would be my goal. I'm going to continue to work with Steve Hoka. I want to see the Manosphere come together. And I want to see the childish behavior disappear. So that maybe we can eventually accomplish something. Because we can accomplish something if we will work together. We will. You need to understand that. We can do it. But we have to stop the childish behavior and we have to work together for the same goal. And we have to recognize what's going on with people that are most likely military intelligence, that are here for an agenda. And we have to keep our eyes on the laws. Because they're going to try to push mental health laws onto us. All because you're alone or you've been rejected or you went your own way. And we can't allow them to do that. And with that being said, I'm going to get on out of here. And you all have a good one.